Welcome back to our garden. Today we're going to be talking about lavender's mundane, magical, and medical uses. Even footage of lavender is relaxing and peaceful. One of the most globally recognizable plants in the herbal repertoire of witches and other New Age spiritualists would probably be lavender. You can't really go into any shop without hearing about it at least once or twice, and I have to say, I agree with the hype. The first thing you should know about lavender is it's actually incredibly easy to grow. Lavender is extremely drought tolerant, which means it can survive in these two-tiered garden beds that are right in front of our house in full sunshine and can get up to about 30 or 40 degrees in the middle of the summer. So they definitely can survive living with a lot of heat, a lot of sunshine, and not a crazy watering schedule. So super easy for beginners and requires very little to no maintenance whatsoever. Some equipment you might need to harvest would just be a basket or a container, some scissors, and some string to tie up your bundles once the lavender is harvested. It's my pleasure to finally introduce the Tam in tamTERRA. This is Tammy. She is my wonderful mother, and she's helping me harvest lavender today. Another pretty obvious and rather mundane benefit of growing lavender in your garden would be the amount of bees it attracts. You will see so many bees throughout the footage, and they have the biggest little bumblebee bums. I think that it is an incredible benefit of growing lavender, the amount of pollinators and bees you can help sustain and nourish and bring to your garden if you're growing vegetables or other herbs that maybe need some bee love. Our general rule around harvesting any plant that is a perennial or well established, especially if we're foraging natural resources from the forest, would be to kind of divide up what we take. So we take a third, we will leave a third for the animals that rely on that plant, so in this case, insects, bumblebees, so that they have a source of food and nutrition as well, and then we will leave another third for the actual plant's life cycle. So we will leave that intact so that it can flower, go to seed, and properly winter itself and prepare for the coming seasons. This is what we do just to make sure that whatever we are harvesting, we are doing it in a sustainable fashion. A very common trend with lavender through its mundane, magical, and medicinal uses would be its heavy association with being calming. Whether this is calming skin burns and irritations with its anti-inflammatory and antiseptic properties, or its calming effect that it has on our moods and our digestive tract due to its high concentration of the terpene linalool. Either way you look at it and however you want to classify lavender, it's a pretty all-around chill herb. Like most powerhouse herbs and flowers, lavender helps both topically and internally for both physical and more mental or mood-related disorders. Physically speaking, we've already talked about the fact that it's antiseptic and has huge anti-inflammatory properties. These both are beneficial when you are treating things like sunburns, scrapes, or bug bites. When we start talking about lavender's ability to affect our moods, we really should be looking at the high anxiety situations we are often found in, as well as stressful situations and even sometimes sleep disorders or depression. The research is still very young when it comes to how exactly lavender helps things like anxiety. I do feel the need to point out that a lot of the claims behind lavender's medicinal benefits are anecdotal and based off of people's personal accounts and history using the plant and herb in their lifestyles, and does not necessarily equate or demonstrate how scientifically this plant affects our moods. I want to mention that lavender is high in a very specific terpene called linalool. I first became acquainted with the terpene linalool while I was working in the legal cannabis industry here in Canada. Cannabis strains that were high in linalool were often prescribed to patients who were suffering from anxiety, depression, insomnia, or other medical conditions that resulted in an inability to relax or sleep at night. I brought this up because I think it's important to realize that when you are working with herbs like lavender or cannabis, that there are individual compounds in that plant that create the medicinal profile of that plant. And those medicinal properties are not always exclusive to that specific plant. I think it's important to know this when it comes to things like allergies. Terpenes are an entirely huge topic unto themselves, so please feel free to click on the card on the screen to go visit my terpene video. They are a very valuable resource to understand when you're working with plants in general, so I really would recommend doing some research on terpenes. The first notable or recorded lore is all around lavender's scent. Using lavender as perfume or drying their clothing on lavender bushes so that when their clothes would dry, it would smell of lavender. Lore has it that when Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, they took lavender with them in order to help protect themselves against evil. The legend also states that lavender didn't hold its characteristically sweet and floral scent until Mary, the mother of Jesus, decided to dry Jesus' laundry on the lavender bush, therefore creating lavender's scent. In the Bible, lavender is called by its Greek name, which is spikenard. Jesus even has his feet washed and then anointed by lavender. Lavender's versatility in the mundane and medicinal worlds definitely carries over to its magical correspondences. Lavender is used in spells and rituals when it comes to things like love, relaxation, joy, cleansing, safety, and protection. The list really does go on. Lavender is associated with so many positive things that it's pretty much included in most rituals and most spells out there. Lavender is not only used for a variety of different things, but it's also used in a variety of different ways. Lavender goes into sachets, there is lavender incense and lavender smudge stick bundles, there are lavender bath salts, there are lavender candles, lavender creams, lavender anointing oil. Lavender really can be and is used in pretty much every way you use any herb in witchcraft. So if you are a herbalist, a spiritualist, or a witch who enjoys lavender, then lucky you. However, if you are someone who is allergic to lavender or simply don't like the smell of it, it can get pretty frustrating and kinda hard to find products that are made by other pagans in your community, or even simple things like soaps and lotions or bath bombs. A new saying that I've really begun to embrace is that information is great, but integration is more important. So, in honor of my new life motto, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 different mundane, magical, and medicinal ways that I use lavender. I think first up, and probably one of the more obvious and easier ways to use dried lavender, would be in teas. I really enjoy just a 50-50 blend of lavender and chamomile, both very calming and relaxing, and both have very good anti-inflammatory properties. It's great before bedtime, or if you just want to chill out. Another way I utilize dry lavender would be in my vaporizer. So I have a dry herbal vaporizer that I will vaporize cannabis in. If I'm wanting it to be a bit more relaxing and to pull on those indica or more linalool dominant terpene traits for cannabis strains, I will simply add some lavender to my grinder and incorporate that into my vaporizer. As you can see, Tammy, or Mother Dearest, is weaving us a lavender wand. It's a little bit more complicated than I want to get into in this video, so we'll make an entirely separate video on how to make lavender wands, but this is how we usually process the lavender if we're just going to hang it somewhere, like on a car rearview mirror for the smell of it. You know, like the hell of it, but the smell of it. I also enjoy using lavender essential oils just around the house in everyday cleaning products. I buy unscented laundry detergent, so when I am done my laundry, especially my bedding, sometimes I like to do a couple of drops of the lavender essential oils on my pillowcase or on my bedsheet, just to give it that very zen, relaxing, and calming effect, not to mention it smells very, very good. A few recipes that I like to make with lavender would be lavender shortbread cookies. Because shortbread cookies are just so light and don't have a distinct flavor themselves, it's quite easy to pick up on the subtle taste of lavender. The same goes for things like lavender lattes. I think it's pretty trendy right now to get lavender lattes, so if you've never had one, I would recommend trying it out. Other than that, there's always the classic lavender lemon loaf. A lavender lemon loaf is basically a springtime tea party in a dish. If you've not had it, I would recommend making it for your next Beltane celebration or your bring in the spring party if you have one of those. Another way I use a lot of my dried lavender would be in my skincare products. At the beginning of this summer, I burnt my stomach really badly with hot water. I decided to create a burn salve with aloe vera, chamomile, and lavender. This burn salve is what got me hooked on using lavender topically. I now put it in my creams way more than I did prior, and I've really started to enjoy using it for its anti-inflammatory and its pain-relieving effects. I've also used lavender in my at-home hair oil that I use for split ends and just to take away frizz. Again, it smells amazing and it's very hydrating and good for your skin and your hair. is honestly more to cover when we're talking about lavender than I think I could fit in one, even two videos. So my game plan is to make another video about coconut oil infused lavender, how I intend to use that, as well as a few other videos that include lavender with incense blends and other ways I use it. I'm not going to show you guys how I bundle and hang the herbs to dry this time around. I do have two other videos where I harvest herbs and show you how I bundle and dry them. I will link them in the card section above so that you guys can check that out if you would like. I hope you are having a fantastic harvest time. I hope you are loving and appreciating all of the bumblebees, the pretty flower shadows, and the rest of your summers. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments below how you use lavender and what your favorite recipes are. I would love to hear from you. Remember, you can do absolutely anything because you are a badass, and I will see you guys next time.